different upbringings. Hi, I'm Bec from Be Free Emotional Fitness Training, and I support women and girls to become emotionally stronger.
And I'm Vern from Move Forward Mentoring, and I specialise in male mentoring, helping boys and men find their passion, speak from their heart, and build better relationships.
And together we are Rekindling Relationships. We work with couples through mentoring sessions as well as facilitating communication and creative workshops to build deeper connections.
Welcome to our podcast, designed to help you strengthen and bring more fun into your partnership, as well as create a more loving, healthy, and strong connection.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, everyone. This podcast has actually been one that a couple of friends of ours asked us to do. They had this discussion and they thought, this would be good for a podcast. And this goes out to Dee and Jem.
This is a dedicated one to you guys, and they're a bit of a fan of our podcast.
They are, which is really nice.
Which is really nice.
And what they talked to us about, the fact that they both had very different upbringings. One was from a very stable house and one was from a very probably hectic house.
Yeah.
Because of that, they have different ideas about what makes them feel safe or comfortable. Because we all have very different upbringings, what you value and what you know, what you understand as a kid and then as an adult could be very different to your partners.
Yeah, exactly. Like you mentioned earlier when we were chatting about this podcast, I suggested to you, hey, maybe we should buy a house together.
And I freaked out.
And to me, I was from a very stable upbringing where my parents had been together 50 odd years and we always had our own place. And to me, that seemed like the stable, normal thing to do. Whereas your situation,
I've pretty much rented my whole life, even as a kid. We moved around a lot and we did my grandfather's place for a while. And I never really had my own place. And then even as an adult, I didn't have my own place and moved around a lot. And I don't know if that's because of my experiences as a kid. But what it meant was when you mentioned buying a house, I was like, whoa, that is huge commitment. You know, that's enormous.
Settle really? Down, lady.
Are we actually going there already? How long have we known each other? Do you actually know what I'm like? I can be really annoying. Maybe you don't want me 24/7. And I think that's also like in relationships.
Mm.
And definitely I have a bit of a commitment phobia, maybe. It's something, you know.
I never noticed.
You never noticed? Oh, jeez. So I have been in a number of relationships and have probably sabotaged a lot of those relationships. We'll do a podcast on that.
That's very honest.
And I've probably have not found my person, or I've tried to make people my person, or I didn't know what that was. You know, I just sort of jumped around from relationship to relationship.
Mm.
And your experience is very different, isn't it?
Yeah, my experience is that, you know, I was married for almost 20 years from 18. So, you know, that is a very different experience to yours. And look, neither are wrong or right. It's, you know, to do with our upbringing and our ideas on things. They're not wrong or right. It's just what we've experienced. And sometimes when a partner mentions something like I did, for example, and this happened with friends, Dee and Jem, wasn't it? That, you know, she mentioned something and he freaked out by the idea of it.
Mm.
And it's the same when I mentioned about the house. Your instant reaction was freaking out because I guess we kind of get uncomfortable in our uncomfortable, don't we?
Yeah.
You're comfortable, or what you've always known was kind of very fluid and insecure, like moving around all the time.
Like, yep. Don't like it here, move.
Yeah. So to me, it was not like a really big deal. It was like, well, isn't this just normally what you do kind of thing?
Well, you know, normally give a few more years together, I think. I don't know. Should we finish blending the kids and then do the next bit?
Well, we're not young.
Well, you're not. I'll edit that out. And I think the idea, it's definitely not, there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually being able to find that common ground, to realize that, oh yeah, we have such different upbringings, and we do. The two of us have very different upbringings. There are some little similarities in there, But we have to find common ground in that. And it's interesting, in spite of those, we still have the same values.
But the beautiful thing is, I think if you find yourself in this situation where your partner suggested something and it's not really an abnormal something, it might be moving forward kind of things or, life together.
Yeah, it might be having children.
And you're freaking. When that happened with us, you voiced that fear. And so did the couple.
Was that after I came running back? Was it after I screamed and ran out of the house?
Started packing stuff.
Where are you going? I'm going for a walk. A very long walk.
So, that happened with our friends too. He was quite aware that he realized his thinking was from his childhood. And so that freaked him out a little bit. And you did the same thing where you voiced it and you're like, okay, I'm a little bit freaked out.
I'm a little bit worried about
and
this.
I think that's important that if you find yourself in this situation, that you voice your fear.
It does come down to having those conversations. I think we bang on about conversations a lot. If one person is really struggling with the idea to buy a house or have a family or create work together, move forward doing something, and that's a combined thing, and one person struggling with it, there's probably a reason, and it just needs to be discussed. Actually be able to sit there and share your story and what things were like. And that's something we should know about each other anyway. We should know what that person's background is. How was life growing up for them? What was their family like? Even if you don't get to meet them, you get to learn their experience of that, and that gives you a better understanding of the person.
That's, perfectly put, because that's what I was about to say, that it gives the other partner.
Were you about to say it in a much higher voice? Or but better.
Not in your deep voice. What I was about to say was that it gives you a little bit of an understanding of where that fear is coming from, because the other person could be a bit like, oh my God, why are they wanting to run away from moving forward?
Why are they panicking?
But it gives you a little bit of an understanding of, your upbringing has been maybe pretty hectic or pretty unstable, or, it's totally different to mine. So it's just coming to some understanding of where they're coming from, and that helps.
So what do you think has been challenging for you in our different upbringings?
I think that personally, probably the only thing I found challenging is that you have in the past had a lot of partners and a lot of female friends, and that's been very different to my previous life, where mine was, you're married and you're in one relationship for like 20 years and didn't have a lot of friends of the opposite sex. So that's probably been one thing that I found a bit confronting.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think that's ongoing for you, isn't it?
I still think I work through that a bit.
Yeah. What can we do about it? Because we do come from different places. Maybe it's the fact that we both have to hold space for that. When I had fear about the commitment of having a house together and you just let me sit with it, it didn't take me long to get over it, because my fear wasn't thrown back at me. Like, you didn't make a big fuss about, why don't you want to live with me? Because you allowed me just to sit in, I've got this thing going on, and you held space for that, and I was able to go through it.
It didn't take you long at all. I was just about to say that that's a really good point, that if you hold space well for the person, you do that well. When this fear comes up for me and I mention it to you, you always hold space really well with it, and I think that helps me work it out pretty quickly.
And you don't like talking about it, do you?
Not really.
No, because it makes you seem...
insecure and needy and, all the things. So what other tips do you reckon we could give people out there who have different upbringings?
I really think it's important to have those deep conversations. Find some time to sit down and find out about that person, your partner, their life and experience. What was it like for them as a child in their family? What was it like to grow up? Were they bullied? Did they move around a lot? Were they unhappy as a child? It's all these things which gives you a better understanding of that person, and then helps you understand maybe where they come from when they speak about things.
Or react a certain way where they're uncomfortable. And I think not making their upbringing wrong and yours right.
Yeah,
it's really important too.
The whole zero-sum game again, isn't it? You're right, I'm wrong, and there's no
real right or wrong. It's just your experience of life.
And being able to listen to each other's experience of life and go, okay, so you grew up like this and I grew up like that. Where's our common ground in that? Like, what is it that actually connects us?
And look, if there is a fear or a trigger that happens when your partner suggests something about moving forward, then if you do talk about it, there's healing in that. And often, like we say, we mention it and we pretty much, it's been and gone, pretty quickly once we talk it through.
Yeah. And those deep conversations really do that. It actually allows for there to be healing. And I think that's one of the reasons that we're in partnership. It's to help both of us grow and heal.
Yep.
All right. Thanks so much for listening.
See you next time.
Okay. And thanks, Dee and Jem, as well. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe and follow us.
And check out our website at rekindlingrelationships.com.
Bye for now.
See ya.